Everybody, I would like to introduce Jisselle Yanez. Go for it, Jisselle.
Yeah, so hi everyone. As Randy said, my name is Jisselle Yanez. I am currently 19 years old. I'm a first year at San Francisco State University. I am currently majoring in sociology, and I'm here to talk to you guys about a student org that is through the Lighthouse. It is called College Spaces from Different Places, and it is essentially a student org that is led by students. It is led by myself and another student from UCLA. And it is designed to be kind of like a support group slash like a place where blind and low vision students who are undergrad college students currently can come together to form connections, build new relationships, and kind of share in our challenges and struggles. I'm sorry, our challenges and accomplishments. And it started back in late October of last year. We started planning for our first meeting. Um, and then we actually had our official first meeting in December of 2020. Um, we started because myself and the other student felt like we needed to have a place where, other folks like us who are college students and who need to find a place, especially right now with the whole pandemic going on and everyone doing classes online and stuff. We needed to find a place where we could come together and, just connect. I think that was our main goal, was just to have everybody come together and be able to interact with one another, even though, it is virtual, but it's still something. And um, after our first meeting, it went really well. So we decided to continue with it, and we now have monthly meetings. Um, Usually, our participants can range from like 10 to 15 participants. It just depends on the topic. Sometimes people are interested in one topic more than another. Um, so some of the topics that we've had like various topics ranging on things like academics and social life and getting involved with volunteering and internships. Our most recent topic, which is this month, is about technology platforms and ways to create effective study environments. Our fifth meeting, it's crazy to say because it just feels like yesterday that we started, but our fifth meeting is today. So I'm really excited about that. And um, so if anyone is interested, I know there's people here who are part of staff. If you have any students that you think would benefit from something like this, please pass on the info. And then if there's any undergrad college students here, please feel free to join us. We would love to have you. Um, and then ways to get involved. So if you would like to RSVP, we do require people to RSVP to our meetings because it just gives us like a better idea of how many people we're going to have and who are these people, what colleges are they coming from. Especially if you're new, we do want to have um, an idea of what part of the state you're located in and what college you attend. So what we ask is that you RSVP via email with our transition youth um, assistant from the Lighthouse. Her name is Daisy Soto, and I will put her email in the chat so you can all have access to that. And I know I just threw a bunch of information, so if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. I would be more than happy to elaborate on anything.
Jisselle, what topics have you covered?
Yeah, so some of the topics that we have covered in our past meetings, one of them was about getting involved on campus. So for that one, myself and the other student leader, we kind of talked about our own experiences of getting involved on campus. And then we had other people from the group share in what ways they have gotten involved. And I guess it just ranges from people's different experiences. There have been people who have a lot of experience, and then you have people who have never volunteered. So it comes down to, okay, what are things that you would like to volunteer in? Um, I guess to give you an idea, usually the way our meetings go is we have introductions, and then from there we do like an icebreaker, and then we kind of introduce our topic for that day's meeting, and then we usually do breakout rooms because people seem to really like that, and I have found it that it's more effective to have a stronger conversation with a smaller group of people. um so we do breakout rooms, and we'll like rotate so people can hear from both myself and the other student leader. And then afterwards we come back together, we spend about like 20 or so minutes sharing out, and then we go over announcements. Our meetings are usually from 7 to 9 o'clock. Although our official end time is 8:30, so the last half an hour is just like social time, and that's just for whoever needs to go at 8:30 leaves, and whoever wants to stay stays. And we just kind of talk about different topics that people have on their mind. And then at 9 o'clock, we all officially leave. Our meetings are usually held on the second or third Tuesday of the month. And anyway, back to Randy's question. Another topic that we had was about networking and building social relationships. So in that meeting, we talked about friendships, roommates, just different relationships, and how to be kind of create those social relationships, especially when you're away from home and you're in college. So that was a really, really great discussion. Um, and as I mentioned, another of our conversations was about finding volunteer opportunities and internships. So it's really great to have an opportunity to share about things that we have been a volunteer of, or internships that we've had, and then kind of get other people's, you know, intel on things that they've done. It really feels like you are building that connection, and, finding those similarities with others is really great. Um, any other questions?
Can you talk about the realities of being a college student in the virtual world today and the importance of DSPS, or Disabled Student Services?
Yeah, of course. So definitely being a college student in the virtual world is not easy. I just graduated high school last year in June, and I felt like my whole world just fell apart when I had no graduation, no prom, nothing. And, I was really excited. I think at one point I just kind of forgot about graduation. I was like, yes, I'm excited. Like, I'm going to go to college. I got my ticket into a 4-year university, which is what I had always wanted since I started high school. So I think that's all that mattered to me. And then in late May of last year, we were told that fall semester and possibly spring semester were also going to be online. And that just completely crushed me. But what can you do? I think one thing that has really taught us from the pandemic and everything going on is learning to be flexible, because nothing is going to go our way. Everything is so unexpected. And so it definitely was challenging. In the beginning, it was new campus, new everything. So navigating a completely new environment and just learning to adjust to college. That transition from high school to college was different, but I think overall it was good. I started off the semester, and it did take me a while to get the hang of everything, but I think by like halfway through the semester I was good to go. I knew where my resources was, and one of those resources definitely was DSPS. If you're not familiar with DSPS, it's basically like the disability services program for students. And I got in touch with them since before I graduated high school. So as soon as I accepted my admissions with San Francisco State, I got in touch with them, and they basically assign you like a counselor who, you can go to if you need something. And I got in touch with him, met up with him via Zoom, and, exchanged emails. And they really helped me out. I think one of the things that really stands out to me. So At the end of high school, I had to return all my tech stuff back because it was the district's, not mine. And I still had not received mine because of some issues that I was having with DOR and my orders. And so all summer, I was basically without tech until about August. And I needed to register for my classes, and I had no access to technology besides my phone. So it was really tough. And I remember that I reached out to DSPS. I was like, well, hopefully it's not too much to ask for. And they were really great about it. They helped me out. They helped me register for classes and, see if I had to get any textbook orders. They showed me how to like navigate the DSPS website. So when I needed to like submit request forms for inaccessible documents and things like that, I was able to do that. So that was really helpful. So yeah, I definitely recommend that if you're going into college, you know where you're going, you have like your admission in, go ahead and get in touch with them because they're a big help. I'm not sure how DSPS I know that it works differently for every college and every university, but I think the basics of it are very simple. And so getting a head start with DSPS is like key. It just makes everything so much easier. It's a smoother transition and having them there is very convenient. You'll find that to be very true, especially as the semesters progress.
So you're set up with DSPS. Can you talk a little bit about cultivating the relationship with the instructor and the value in that?
Cultivating with the
Or,
relationship with the DSPS instructor.
no, with the actual instructor for the class that you're taking.
Oh,
So
the
you're
professors,
signed up
yes.
with DSPS, but you
Mhm.
still kind of need to be advocate for yourself, would you say, with your individual instructors?
Yes, absolutely. So, at least with my university DSPS, when you submit your accommodation request, it automatically sends an email to your professor notifying them that you are the student, that you will be in so and so class, and that these are your accommodations, which I think is great, because that kind of gives them like an official notice of you being a student in their class and your accommodations. But I still like to email all my professors at least maybe a week or just a couple of days before classes start, because I just really think that it's important to let them know, hey, this is who I am. Like, I'm a visually impaired student. I will be in your class this semester. And, just something as simple as that. It's really makes a difference. For me, I keep in touch with my professors throughout the semester, whether it's for extra help or if something isn't accessible, or if I just, want to meet with them for office hours or just to check in with them. Um, and, all professors are different. You're always going to encounter different experiences. Some are easy to work with, others not as much. But all you have to keep in mind is that, it's your right to have the accommodations. Like, they need to accommodate you. And um, that's why it's so important to advocate for yourself and knowing that, you shouldn't feel bad. Like, oh, I don't want to be a burden, or I don't want to be be just asking for stuff constantly. But if you just stay quiet, like, nothing's going to get better. One thing that I've really learned in college is that it's very different from high school in the aspect that in high school you have all these people who, yeah, they'll go ask people stuff for you and things that you need. In college, it all depends on you. Whether you show up to class, it's you. Your assignments, it's you. And advocating for yourself, it's you. No one else knows what your needs are besides you. So it's so important for you to reach out to the professor. If the professor's not willing to work with you, reach out to DSPS, let them know, hey, I'm in this class. This professor is not willing to accommodate me, or they're not, willing to help me out with this, and go from there. It's sometimes you can't just rely on the professor, because sometimes the professor either A, does not want to work with you, or B, doesn't know how to make things accessible, or is not sure on how to help a blind student. I've had professors tell me, oh, yeah, like, you're the first blind student I work with, or other professors, oh, yeah, I worked with like a bunch of other blind students, which, I mean, that's great to hear, but it's always important to, know where you stand and what your needs are, and just knowing what those resources are around you. And one of those is DSPS.
Can you give us an example of some of the accommodations that they can provide?
Yeah, so DSPS can provide various accommodations. Some of them, like I hadn't even heard of before. Um, one of them is extra extended time on like assignments or exams. So for that, at least for my university, you have to submit your request that you want that as your accommodation. Um, Another one is what they call alternative formats. I use this one a lot. So basically, what they do is that they will take all the stuff that's up on your on your classes. So if you use Canvas and it's Canvas, San Francisco State has like a different their own like form of Canvas. So they'll take all the things that teachers have posted, so like assignments, articles, PowerPoint, and they will basically turn it into an accessible format for you. I know there's a lot of like PDFs that I've come across and they're not accessible. So they will basically turn those into like a Word document for you or whatever format you prefer. And then they will like upload them to your own like personalized folder so you can have access to them. So I really like that. I didn't know they could do that. But it's really helpful. Um, Another accommodation is note taking. So I haven't used this one too much. But basically you can have people basically sign up to be note takers, and they will go in your class and take notes for you. Um, so I haven't used that one too much, but I am sure at some point I will. And yeah, those are like the main accommodations. I'm pretty sure there's like a lot of others, but those are like the primary ones.
What main devices are you using to do your your uh, your college work? Are you using a laptop computer? Are you using a tablet, an iPhone,
Yeah,
combination?
so currently I am using my Mac, and that is usually what I use. I also use a Braille Note Touch, and I do use my phone quite a bit. I know a lot of people do not really like using the phone. I find the phone pretty useful. I mean, it's not something to always rely on. But you know, if you ever need a backup or you need to do something while you're outside of your house, you don't have like access to your laptop or to your Braille note, phone is really convenient.
Anybody else can chime in with questions. Can you talk for a minute about Bookshare, and is that useful as a college student?
Yeah, so I use Bookshare. I don't use it too often. Have heard that there is like a lot of college textbooks on there. Last semester, I did not need to use any textbooks at all, which is really nice because I'm not a fan of textbooks. But this semester, I have a couple of textbooks. I was able to get them in an accessible format through DSPS. But I have heard that it is nice to go into Bookshare and take a look and see if your textbook is on there, because no one wants to pay for textbooks. Textbooks are not always cheap. So yeah, that's definitely a good resource. Thanks for pointing that out, Randy.
Giselle, what's your major again?
My major is sociology.
So how are you handling research? Like, do you have to go to the library and go through the stacks? Or are you using Seeing AI or anything to read
Yeah, so
library
great
text?
question. So I have had a few research projects to do. I'm currently
Uh-huh.
working on a couple right now. Um, and so my campus has like a, online library where you can go in, you can go into the search bar, and you can like browse by subject and then kind of just type in like keywords of what you're researching, and then it'll give you like different articles and chapter books and things like that. It took me a while to get the hang of it because it's not always like super accessible. Sometimes you kind of have to play around it for a bit to find like the certain search bars or buttons or things like that. But yeah, that's usually how I get my research. If I personally prefer to just do my own research just through, normal Google searches and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So if they allow us to just have like outside resources, I will do that. if not, then yeah, I go through my campus's library. I haven't been on campus at all, because I started when we started doing online. So I have no idea how it is doing, going into the library in person and doing, um, looking for research material that way. But I'm sure I'll figure it out when I get back to
I'm
campus.
I'm guessing with seeing AI and that kind of stuff, I have a feeling that research is going to be easier. And SFSU, great school. That was my second choice school. It's a fantastic campus with excellent resources. So you're going to be super happy. It's a great school.
Wow, thanks. Yeah, no, it's a great school. I mean, so far so good. I like it. We'll see.
Love that campus.
How
Get
do
Blind Square. It's going to really help you with the campus.
I do have Blind Square. I honestly
Yeah.
haven't used it too much because I haven't
Oh my
been like,
gosh, you're gonna do audio tags all over that campus, and you're gonna love it. It's that campus. Oh, that's such a great campus.
I definitely will. It's not too huge like other campuses. I have toured it once. It's not as big as like Sac State. I know Sac State is really huge. But yeah, I'm sure I will have to do a bunch of audio tags everywhere because I'm not trying to get lost.
If you can get past that first street crossing to get on campus, you're golden. I hate that first street crossing and getting through the Muni tracks. You're golden.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds
That's
scary.
where I went there too. I
Oh
went
my
there
gosh,
too, and I totally
get
remember
across
that
those
crossing.
Muni tracks.
Yeah, I totally remember that. Yep. I remember mostly the Muni was packed with people at one point. I had to have like my dog on the seat. It was horrible.
Uh-huh.
Good school. Good school though. Loved it.
Yeah, great school.
How do you handle writing your papers because when I was in college, we had to write like 25-page papers and the dictation how do you handle doing that without getting everything even formatted correctly? Because my
Yeah.
teachers did not care about your disability. They understood you had one, but they didn't much let it. It's like they just said, okay, you still got to do it. How do you handle that? Because I have trouble now trying to deal with remembering everything.
Yeah, I totally understand. So, for me, I in high school I had a Braille note, just a regular Apex, and I got really used to it. Then in college, when everything went virtual, I was like, okay, yeah, I definitely need to learn how to use a laptop now. So I learned the Mac. So shout out to Randy for that because he is my tech instructor, and he's taught me a lot. But yeah, so I prefer to type up my documents on my Braille Note Touch, and then I will just transfer them onto my computer, do my edits there, like formatting, get the font size, if they want a double spacing, if they want things like indented, I will do that on the laptop. It does take a while to kind of figure it out. It took me a while to get all the formatting correctly. And even then, like I still have little glitches here and there. But I think it's just a matter of finding what's best for you. With big papers like that are, pages and pages, I wouldn't recommend dictation. That's just like a lot. And sometimes like dictation doesn't work as good because, it'll understand a different word or it won't put the punctuation where you asked it to. So, I use dictation for brief things like texting, things like that, or just inputting things into like my notes, very small like phrases and things like that. But when it comes to like essays and research papers, I definitely recommend typing it, whether that's a laptop or a braille note. But yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Any other questions I can answer for anyone, whether it's about college spaces from different places or anything that I talked about with my college experience?
I've got two.
Yes.
Can you give us an example of a time that when the technology or the web portal is not accessible? What's a workaround that you've had to had to come up with? Have you had to come up with any workarounds?
Yeah. So there is a thing, it's called our submission forum where we need to actually go in there, add our submission and attach like our our assignment or our document or whatever we're turning in, and then kind of like hit submit. It's different than like how a forum works. It's like an actual submission box, and that has been like tricky to navigate. Um, one day I was like, oh, I need to turn this in. I can't find a workaround it. Like, how do I do this? Like, I need to submit it. Like, there was, I just had to submit it. And I was like, oh, of course. I like called Randy. I was like, hey, like, so there's this happening. Like, can you tell me if there is like a button there that is actually there, but voiceover is just not saying it? And there was, it's the submit button, and it was not like accessible. It just was skipping by, and it wasn't like saying anything. And so I was like, wow, like that's just, interesting. Everything else is being read off, but not the submission button, like the submit button, which is what I needed. So that still is the same. It hasn't gotten fixed. And my workaround around that was I can't be calling Randy every single time I need to submit an assignment. So what I do is I email my professor, like, hey, there is this spot on the submission box that it's not accessible. It's the submit button. I'm finding a work around it, but for now, is it okay if I email you my documents? And all of them said yes, like that's fine. You can go ahead and just email it to me. Sometimes it's when it comes to like finals or midterms or things like that, like you have to submit it. Like there is no other way. You can't email it. Like that happened to me last semester where you couldn't email it, you couldn't do anything. Like you had to put it on our website page. Thankfully that was like a different type of box, so I was able to access it. So yeah, that there's definitely some tech troubles here and there.
I have one more question about college spaces.
Yes.
So this is essentially, you're going to be going into your second year. Where do you see this going? Do you see this continuing after you graduate from college?
So I think it is something that it's so hard to predict. I think even just us starting it, we didn't know where it was going to go. We didn't know people were going to show up, if people were going to be interested in it, if we were going to have more than one meeting. Thankfully, it's gone way better than we have expected. I think our plan for now is our next meeting is in May. Then we'll take a break off June and July. My other student leader, he is graduating actually in June. So we are just getting someone else to be my co-leader. So she is a first year at San Francisco City College, and she'll be taking over when we start back up again, which is in August. Right now, I guess because our main goal was to kind of form that connection and have everyone come together during like the pandemic and during like virtual learning. I think it all depends on when all campuses go back to in-person learning. I would love to have it going even then, because I mean, think about it, you go to your own campus, there may be other blind folks there, there may not be any, you never know. And I think that's why I would like if we could have it going, because I think people have found it to be a place that has benefited them beyond just connecting because we're in a pandemic and because everything is virtual. We haven't really discussed like where we want it to go beyond that. I think it's just that everything is so uncertain now. But I definitely would like to have it continue. And we had mentioned before, oh, what about if we like kind of, the Lighthouse has what they call their yes workshops, and those are like weekend long workshops. I mean, of course, back when we were in person. So we were thinking of doing something similar where we could bring all the College Spaces team to like a weekend at Lighthouse and kind of, actually hang out in person and interact with each other in person. So hopefully we are able to do that at some point after, everything is a little more normal and things are easier to work with.
Way cool. Way cool. Anybody else have any questions? The suspense is killing me.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and put the Daisy Soto's email in the chat.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions, comments?
I want to say thanks for sharing your story.
Thank
That was
you.
really a good story and good thing for people to hear. So thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah, you're very strong. Keep going. You have a good drive going. And
Thank you.
I don't know you, but I'm proud of you. I mean, like, you're young.
Yeah.
You know, you got it going on, girl.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Keep it up. You're gonna go places, girl.
Mm-hmm. She's already there, B. She don't even know it.
Right? She's already working it.
Yeah.
To the goat.
What does GOAT mean?
Greatest of all time.
Brand, you know how to teach
Oh,
them the lingo
okay.
of today's day.
Seriously. Wow.
Goat. That's what that's Jim's favorite. That's his favorite word. You the goat.
That's so funny.
I know.
Oh,
My
sorry.
husband's a dude. My husband's a dork.
That's
My
your
husband,
book.
hey, he calls Randy the goat.
I thought he was making fun of me.
No, he was telling you you're the goat. He says you're the greatest of all times, Randy.
Yeah. Okay.
And then just one more thing.
Yeah.
If you all have any further questions about anything, just college spaces or anything else, I'm going to put my email in the chat and you can feel free to email me and, ask away.
Jisselle, can you leave us with one piece of advice for the person that's thinking about going to school?
If you want to go to college, do it. That's all I'm going to say. Like it's not easy to get there. It's not easy when you are there. But if you want to go to college, go for it. I think especially in today's day, it's so important to have that education, to have that degree. It's whether or not, like, do you want to be working the minimum wage job, or do you want to have like more education, more knowledge, like a degree to where you can use it to your advantage and go and get a more high paying job, of course, but focus and find a career in something that you're interested in. I think that was like my biggest one of my biggest like motivations for college was I was like, I don't want to just be given a job of something that I don't like I want to choose my own path, choose my own career, and specialize in something that I'm passionate about, and find a job in that. So I think it's that, find that sense of motivation and just go for it. I mean, who's telling you no? The worst thing that can happen is you apply to some college and they say no. I mean, there's a million colleges out there. It's possible.
And I think another thing you hit on, which is really, really, really important, is self-advocating.
Mm-hmm.
Let your teachers know your needs. You're the only one that knows, just like she said.
Definitely. Yep.
Well, thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. It was really great to have the opportunity to talk to y'all.
Well, thank you, Jisselle.
And there's my email. If you have any questions, feel free to email me.